Well, it is 11:24, Saturday. Got a little bit of studying done while I'm working on some other things. Downloaded the, not the latest, but like the second to latest INE training the other night. Got it from a friend of mine, and I am currently working on some routing things, layer 2, so that would be like your PPP, your frame relay, stuff like that. I have a video player with a very handy built-in playlist, so it comes in handy when I want to do specific things. And I have what's that, about 30 videos from the latest and greatest. It's got some multicast in there, some frame relay, and then there's some first hop redundancy and then IP services. That's about it. That's from the latest one. So when I get the money, I'll go out and buy the regular one. So it's $1,000, so I don't really have $1,000 laying around. If you do, I'll take donations. Anyway, CCIE. You've heard me talk about it. You've heard me reference it. You probably are tired of hearing it by now. But it is my goal. I have a not a heavy interest in it. It's something I know that will elevate me to the next level. So that being said, it's kind of one of those things where if you have the opportunity to better yourself and the training is available and you have the drive to do it, why not? I think it's kind of silly if you go through a training and you're just like, well, it was okay. You know, first time you go through anything, you're not going to get everything. That's just a way of life. So my best advice for anyone that's training for a IT certification that wants to better themselves, to get a higher paying job, and basically solidify their ability to be recession proof. I guess that's a newer term. Nothing is recession proof, obviously, but if you have skills, whether they're hands-on skills, like you can work with lumber, you're good at carpentry, you're good working with your hands, you know, metalworking or concrete, or notice they're all construction. So anything you can do with your hands, those will always be in demand because people will need physically, need to physically be there. Now, on the flip side of that, there are the non-hands-on jobs, i.e. developers. Anybody that can sit behind a keyboard and type on a keyboard and make an application work, they are not. They're technically hands-on because they're typing on a keyboard. Okay, I will grant them that. But at the same point in time, if you are somebody if you're a keyboard cowboy or cowgirl, I feel bad for you when they don't need a developer, when they don't need somebody to sit there and go through debugs or test. Now this is my personal opinion, as well as the opinions and statements from other individuals in the IT industry that I work with every day. Developers, they can sit at home and collect the salary and go from there, where I'm just the opposite. I like to be on site. On site is cool because then you're not distracted by home things. Well, you could be. you know, you and your wife or your husband are fighting or something like that, and you mentally you're not 100% where you should be, but such is life. I really don't feel bad for those people because I'm married. I have 2 kids, 2 boys. I understand the whole married life thing. I've been married for, oh Christ, going on 11 years. Never thought I'd say that, but 11 years. 4 more, and I have my dad's record. Not that I'm trying to beat his record, but, you know, I get along with my wife. She can be a pain in the butt sometimes, as so could I. So, but our goal is, you know, we communicate with each other. That's a big thing. You know, I tell her stuff, she tells me stuff. Right now, the only thing that's holding us back from living the life that we want to live is finances. You know, we get along. We don't have any major issues. You know, she's a clean house type of person. You know, she likes to have the house clean. To me, a little bit of clutter is okay because, you know, it's a working household. But anyway, so as long as you can keep your head in the game, that's the big thing, head in the game. You know, I watched an episode of TV last night just to get a break from studies, and it was about PTSD and how you need to, those people that don't know where they're heading or what they want to do, they have to reassociate with what is important to them and then believe in themselves. Well, I've never lost what I want to do. So for me, it's more of a let's focus on something and get it done. Now, I've done that on several occasions, and I have proven a lot of people wrong. Not that that's my goal. My goal is to better myself. I went and got the A+, passed it my first shot. Went and got the C-Cent, passed that my second shot. I will eventually get the CCNA. I have mentioned that I was going to skip that, but I will get it. And go from there. My ultimate goal, obviously, is a CCIE. Actually, I watched an ethical hacker video the other day, where it was Cisco Certified Internet Network Engineer. Well, obviously it doesn't know that engineer is actually expert, but hey, it's cool. The thing with the CCIE is it's what they call a premier certification, meaning you know everything about a particular track. Because I believe Cisco has 8 tracks. You know, you start off, in my opinion, the best way to start is route switch, because it's the core. They teach you about routing, they teach you about switching, they teach you about, you know, how the routers work, how the switches work, how security rolls in, all the different ways you can route stuff, all the different ways you can switch stuff. Access control, IP services, quality of service, so on and so forth. Now, I have an 11 module training. The biggest one is module 2, I believe that's what, 25. It goes from IP routing logic all the way through PFR OER, performance routing and optimized edge routing. I am pretty familiar with everything in there. But for right now, my main goal, and those are all IGPs, Interior Gateway Protocols, meaning they route your internal network. The next one after that will be BGP. I really want to get BGP. I really, really want to get BGP. I have a solid understanding of how the basics work, you know, where you have, you know, your eBGP and your iBGP. But my goal, I probably won't go layer 2, module 1, which is, I think is 14 lessons. Because I know how to do VLANs and trunking, ether channel, spanning tree, rapid spanning tree, multiple spanning tree. Well, actually, that's not true. Multiple spanning tree, I know a little bit about, but consider it's in the CCIE blueprint, I will learn it. That's actually another point that I wanted to bring up. I listened to a podcast the other day with Jeremy Char, Greg Farrow, who's the other guy? Packet Talk, I think is the name of it. Packet Life, Packet Nuts, something to that effect. It's a podcast, and they were talking about how this guy had just gotten his CCNP, and It was really informative. Actually, I picked up a lot over about a half an hour's worth of video, and the goal was you might know 60% of what you need to know to pass an exam, because it directly applies to your day-to-day job. You can learn anything you need to learn in order to do your day-to-day job or anything else. If you want to get thoroughly familiar with it and know how to do this stuff, I don't want to use the term implicitly, but that's basically what it comes down to. If you want to really learn how this stuff works and get good at it, certification coverage will do that. It will fill in any gaps you might have. Like, for instance, I really had no idea that you could mess with RIP, metric, and timers, or the filtering. Who knew RIP could be that complex? Because all it does is a broadcast, well, RIP version 1 broadcasts every 30 seconds. RIP version 2 multicast every 30 seconds. Who knew? I didn't. You know, that's why you learn. But anyway, you get specific things, like, I knew about OSPF path selection, knew what it was, like virtual links, stubs and filtering, summarization, and then it gets into some really cool MPLS, the command line, the VRF, virtual routing and forwarding table, which is basically like, it's a virtual router inside of a router. It's like almost VMware for a router. Multicast. Well, the one thing I like about multicast is its multicast introduction, then rendezvous points, then multicast command line, then rendezvous points, command line part 1 and 2. Then it gets into IPv6 multicast, which I don't know much about. I know what multicast is, so very similar to directed IP broadcast. Then you get CBWFQ. Okay? I believe that stands for context-based weighted fair queue. It's a quality of service feature. Don't know what it means. Don't know what it does. You know, this is the. You know, I make these faces when I make these videos because it's like, what does that do? But it's cool stuff. You know, it's one thing to be going through some training and go, well, we're going to learn about IPSLA today. No, it's actually something I want to learn how to do. You know, there's a difference between going through training. Jeremy actually had a really good education for the sake of education is pointless. Meaning, if you go to school just to get a degree, what was the point of going through school? You know what I mean? So in that case, if you're not going to put forth the effort for something, why do it? You know what I mean? If you're going to go through school just to get a degree and then do something completely else, you know, you go to school to be a doctor and you end up becoming a construction worker, okay, you know, whatever floats your boat, but you know, that's not what I'm all about. I'm going to school for network administration, security, so on and so forth, and then I will eventually become a CCIE. I want to become a VMware guy, a very strong Microsoft guy. Linux, I want to get into Linux, maybe a little bit of programming along the way. But I have goals. Right now, CCIE is my first one. Then I might, as I'm going through CCIE training, because I had an interview for a network analyst job, and that's my primary goal right now, is to get stronger in the things that he told me I need to get stronger at. CCIE, then Microsoft, because Microsoft is pretty heavy. And then while I'm going through Microsoft training, do VMware. And then once I'm done with Microsoft and VMware, get into more Linux. Not as popular, but still out there. Don't have to be an expert in it, but knowledgeable. At least know what you're looking at. If somebody asks you a question, hey, this is what popped up, you know, it's a nit.rd. something, you're going to know it's whatever. But I will give you guys an update shortly, another week or so, and then we'll go from there. So, talk to you later.